Assalamu alaikum. Why is there so much hype in the charity boat race in the Bengali community? Is boat racing embedded in the Bengali community? And what can we do to ensure our children and their children continue this tradition? Now, hold that thought for one moment and let me introduce you to my guests. So on the right, I have Sutabai, and in the center, I have Awal Mia, and lastly, on the far end, I've got Shablu Mia. Sutabai, give us a quick introduction of yourself, where you're from, what you do, why you're here.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. But yeah, I'm actually from Bishnat. Not actually, I am from Bishnat. I'm the coordinator for the Upazila Cup. So it's been hard work over the last few weeks to get everybody together, and Alhamdulillah, it's looking very good. We've got 12 Upazila taking part in the competition.
Okay, Awal Bhai.
Alhamdulillah, I'm from Mulaibaza Shodor. I live there, and I'm representing our team, the team captain, and unfortunately I'll have to apologize because our team manager couldn't attend today, Rumel Bhai. Inshallah next time he'll be around, but he's going to be there on the day when we actually do the event. Yes, so please throw your questions, I'm ready.
Absolutely, thank you. Shablu Bhai.
Assalamu alaikum. Amar mamar loge aise aske so amra boat racing lagi fundraising hormo inshallah apnara rokhlo support ar dua tahbo amra lagi inshallah amra this year try hormo best.
Okay, which team are you from?
Amra Mulaibaza Shodor team lagi.
Mulaibaza team.
Jai Mulaibaza team.
Okay, but anyway, before we continue to discuss the charity boat race, I think there's two other competitions that we'll be hosting. The first one is Carrom board, and the second one is Longi race. So, yes. I overheard you earlier on. You talked about the Longi race. Do you want to give us a bit of overview of what Longi race exactly is? What is it?
I can say
okay,
something.
so basically Longi race goes way back. It's a traditional race that actually happens in Bangladesh a lot in various different gram area, and it represents our traditional sports. It's a very vintage sport, to be honest. It's very fun and it's amazing. It's so much of a laugh, to be honest with you. You have to basically tie a longi, okay, in your waist, and it's about 100-meter sprint. Putting that on, and then you run 100 meters. So whoever's the fastest runner is the winner.
What's the current record then?
Current record, Mulaibaza won the cup last year.
Last year, আমরা cup জিতছিলাম. That was one of our young brother who was 13.
Okay.
And we won the cup.
Do you remember how many seconds it took you to do the 100 meters?
Do you remember exactly? I don't, because that was a 1 year ago.
That's okay.
Just under
What's important is that you guys won 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Okay, that is real quick.
That was really quick.
He is very good.
Okay.
The young brother who won the cup was very good. He's very good runner.
Okay, so basically you put on a longi and you do
You put
100
longi,
meters
basically
stretch.
Bengali style longi finda dura lage.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you. Sutabai, Carrom board. Okay, I don't think any Bengali in our age group didn't see a Carrom board in their house. Somewhere down their life.
Everybody has
everybody plays Carrom board, but there seems to be some sort of excitement. Previously it was confined to people's houses. Your brothers and sisters played Carrom board and it was all nice. But now there seems to be competitions countrywide. So what's going on?
Well, you're right. You're right, because Carrom it's a family game. So everybody gets involved. And obviously recently, over the last year or two, I've seen a lot of clubs popping up, which is actually just shows the popularity asset. So আমরা charity নগবাস থেকে আমরা auto উদ্যোগ নিছি যে why not include Carrom, because it's part of our heritage, Carrom তো আমরা খেলাই সব সময়. So what we're doing with Carrom is that আমরা 16টা উপজেলা is উপজেলা based.
Okay.
Although আমরা 12টা নৌকা বাইসও পাইছি, but 16টা আমরা Carrom board tournament
So
পাইছি.
it's bigger popularity.
So alhamdulillah, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. Last year was a very big success, and I think everyone's come back to represent their Upazila.
So what's the structure of the tournament, Carrom board?
Yes,
is it knockout or is it group stages?
I think it's group stage, isn't it?
Do you partner? How many players per team?
So this is doubles. This is doubles. So 2 players will represent each Upazila. And due to the time scale, it's most likely to be a knockout competition. And
So
then
it's going to be knockout, right? Okay. Any other rules to watch out for? Because there's people watching, maybe they need to
Well,
know about.
well, obviously, you need to know how to play the game.
Okay.
The game obviously needs your mental side working properly, you know, and obviously flicking your finger, which is very important. But other than that, you know, it's for everybody. Anyone from both ends of the spectrum can play this game. Old,
Okay.
you know, young ones.
Any generation,
There's
basically.
no
Any
restriction.
generation they can play that games.
Sorry?
Carom, any generation they can play.
Yeah.
There's no like any age
Restriction.
No,
restriction.
There isn't.
But then I would call that it's an art. It's an art and it's a talent that you have to, you know, actually upskill yourself with, because you can't get it straight away. It's pretty much like,
It's-
you know, snooker, pool
Mm.
is exactly in that same formation.
So আমরা বাংলাদেশে mainly বইয়া খেলাই ইন্ডিয়াতে বেশি অংশে তারা বইয়া খেলাই
So it's also in India as well.
Oh, India
Okay.
is
So
massive.
predominantly
Yeah.
South Asia.
All
Yeah,
over
South
South
Asia,
Asia,
South
right.
Asia পাওয়া যায়. Yeah, it's মানে gore gore carom board আছে. Everyone plays it. In fact, when I looked into the history of the game, it's actually been played by ladies.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I looked into why it was played by the ladies. So obviously the men were at work, ladies had nothing to do. So, you know, they would get the kids together.
And
they
that's a fact. The
It
ladies
is a
should
fact.
play.
It
Okay.
is a fact.
You know, you learn a
Yes.
new fact every day.
It
So
is a
that is a
fact.
good fact to know.
It's and then the other thing is actually, if you look into it, you find a lot of nice things about it. Why is there, you know, 9 caraman, you know, 9 of white and 9 of black, and why is there a queen which is called a red? There's a history behind it as well. Now, the Indian, if you go to the Indian side of things, it's Agaramlato Razawasha Razotiasil.
Yeah.
So basically, the queen is who stays in the middle. She's protected by all the soldiers, okay? And then the striker basically means the attacker. So they're attacking, trying to take the queen away, and the others are kind of stopping.
So
the
it's
queen-
basically fighting for the queen
It is,
and
it
then giving
is.
your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is another type of sport also involved in carom board. It's called kholafata, you know, where you mix the white and the black kuti together.
Okay.
You make it a tower, and then when you break it, you then basically convert the two colors into 5 and 10.
And yeah.
Mm.
And it's on a point system. And like Bai said, the red is 50. So if it's a 1-to-1 match, you get to see who's got the most talent. That's the shortest way to
Which is-
figure out who's the
That's a fun game.
Winner.
It's-
Okay.
Well, just to correct you, it's called Kholagas.
Kholagas.
Kholagas,
Kholagas, yes. Kholagas, yes.
Yeah. Which is a banana tree. That's what it is.
Now,
Because
I
you
do
stack
remember
them
playing
up.
Kholagas.
You
It
stack
was,
them up.
yeah, you just stack them up.
Yeah, like a
and,
banana tree.
Yeah, and then you try and get it into
That's
your
right.
corner.
It's actually a fun game.
So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I think there's going to be some good players there.
There
I
is.
mean,
There-
is there anyone notable? Is there a sort of
Well,
a nationwide champion in the Bengali
Well,
community
there-
that's going to come?
As you just said, there are good players. Rather than naming them all, I think the category, the caliber of the players in that 16 Upazila is brilliant. And rather than mentioning any names, let's not do that because we don't want to upset anybody. But the caliber is brilliant,
Yeah,
and
professional.
they play all
all
over.
good players,
Yeah.
basically.
So
They
they're
play
all
all
good
over the
players.
country.
Yeah.
They're like journeymans, you know. They go into tournaments.
So no one really strikes out as being one of the best. It's rather so close that everyone's so trained and so used to playing this game that it's always a very tight game. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, well, as I said, you need the mental aspect of it and the skills. There is an organization who play sitting down a proper manner, and I know many years ago, Cornel Abdinbay was a big name, you know, European champions, local champion. He's pretty good. I think health is good on his side, so he's kind of sort of given up a bit. But that's the name that I can remember.
Okay, so on the day when teams arrive for the carom board in a longer race, what would they expect? What time should they arrive?
Yeah, so the whole the Nokobais, the program starts at 10. So we were asking all 4 categories of the Nokobaises to be there and register by 10 o'clock. And we expect that the Karen people be there all ready and set, all set up, because they need to start early, because there's a lot of teams and they need to get through the day for the final. Yeah.
Okay. So when teams arrive, they arrive at 10 o'clock and they have a safety briefing. And then I think I've got it noted here, 11:15 is a carrom board. And then 11:30, you've got the boat race. And then at 2 o'clock, you've got the longi race.
That's right.
Why is there a delay between the carrom board and the longi race? Do you expect the carrom board players to be participating in the longi race as well?
But you would not believe how, as Awal Bhai said earlier,
Very
it's
flexible.
really, people love to see that. And one of the funniest thing about longer races, the idea is you want to see somebody fall over.
Yeah.
Because running
It's like
with the
more
longi
like
on
fun
is-
type, isn't it?
Are
it's
they
not-
going to be wearing sandals, shoes, or
no,
bare feet?
Khalifa,
Bare feet.
bare
Bare
feet.
feet.
But I
Okay.
think for safety reasons, we'll probably allow
Trainers.
trainers. But yes, the idea of longer race is someone to fall over, and
Okay.
they do. I remember the first year we were taking part in one of the longer races. Our player was miles away, and guess what? He fell over.
Could it be embarrassing if they fell over?
It is,
Okay, I had to call it out.
no, it is embarrassing, and that's the joy of
Yeah.
longer.
So wearing a longi is an
And the
art
reason we've
itself.
got it at that particular time, because it's
Yeah.
peak time,
Mm.
we'll have all the people, most of the people, the audience should be there by then. So we should have a brilliant sort of.
So have you
number of-
participated in the longi race before? Have you
have
yourself?
I participated? I laugh at people, but I don't want people laughing at me. So no, I haven't.
You haven't. Right, okay. Have you, Awal Bhai?
No, but believe it or not, my son took part in it last year,
Okay.
and he's the one who actually made Molly Shoulder win the Longi Race Cup. And hats up to the young boy. He's training at this moment. I mean, he's training every other day. He's doing his jogging and he's keeping up his stamina. He's practicing. He wants to win again. So he's doing his preparation to take part
Okay,
again
so-
this coming 13th.
Coming on to preparation, so what kind of preparation do you think that people should be concentrating on? Because it's not just about winning, it's also about sharing the knowledge, right?
Of course.
So that the culture is spread, the Bengali culture is spread, and also for the next generation as well. So what do you recommend?
Absolutely. I mean, here, Shablu Bagna is a young youth influencer. And, amongst the community, he does a lot of work in the community, and he influences, today's young generation to basically know and understand the kind of sports and events that happens every year. And,
is a sport that আমরা দেশের old মানুষের পয়লা জেনারেশন তো নাইছে সো আমরা যদি ওটা ধরে রাখি just a fun game is nothing like very Olympic or maze is nothing like this. It's just a small game that we play in back home village. So village or tradition ধরিয়ে রাখা লাগে this kolongi game. আর এটার লাগি training is a sense that আপনি running go গুতা হইবা. In a running you need to be very fast and you need to know how to wear your longi in a certain way so it doesn't fall off and you don't fall off. So এটা একটু টেকনিক আছে যেটা আপনি অ্যাপ্লাই করতে হইবা like longi finda nicely with the longi you need to run every day so you have the strength to run. Those sort of things.
Any special kind of longi?
And it's just normal longi
It's just
that
normal longi.
that আমরা গরো ফিন্দি সকলে mostly.
The rules with longi race is the longi has to be below your ankle, okay? And while you're running, you cannot hold it. So
Your hand need to
you
be let
can't
it go.
hold it. It's without holding. You need to run.
And
straight.
someone with slightly long legs like me, I couldn't do the full stride, could I? So I have to confine
I
myself.
think the chances
this
are you'll
space.
fall over.
So that's why you need to do practice. You need to try.
I see it like this. The most important thing is, our young generation, millennium generation especially, they need to know, all the kind of sports and activities our cultures, it has or inherited from the past, and they need to know this. And we want, the fun factor is that nowadays, because we're doing loads of this type of activities every year, a lot of the young generations are really excited to come and join in. Believe it or not, I was really surprised last year. We had a lot of people.
I think it's most important things that people that born and brought up here, they don't know about our culture. So this is the thing, when we do it, আমরা culture বারো যাইব.
Of
তো আমরা
course,
কালচার
of
সম্বন্ধে
course.
লাইক আমরা দেশেও যে ছোট ছোট গেম আছে
Yeah.
মানুষে জানলো ও দেশের বনেন বটা পুরুতাইতে জানলা সো দে ক্যান নো অ্যাবাউট দ্য কালচার
আর আমরা ইনফ্লুয়েন্স ইন করায় বাক্কা হেল্প ওর তারা কম্পিটিটিভ হয়ে যায়
Yeah.
and that's what we need
That's
the
what we need.
interest
yes
And
so
that-
more motivate them and stuff like this
Now, I'm going to ask all of you the same question, and you don't have to answer this one. Do you wear longis at home?
I wear lungi at home
Okay.
sometime
there's no
Sometimes.
আমি
no denial
I'm,
on
I'm
that.
just trying to understand.
আমি লঙ্গি পিন্দি যত সময় আমি খামো গেছি না আর পর্যন্ত তত সময় পর্যন্ত আমার লঙ্গি বাঁধে বাড়া গেল আমি লঙ্গি পিন্দি আঠি
মাছে ভাতে বাঙালি আমরা
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so that's enough about the Karen Board tournament and the Longi tournament. I'm sure you're going to be there. Those are probably the two highlights of the tournament
Yes.
itself. We're going to take a short break. In the next segment, we're going to talk about the charity boat race itself. Don't go away. There's going to be a lot of information being handed out. We're going to talk about all the different heats. There's 3 separate heats. There's 4 separate categories. We're also going to talk about the teams that are upcoming, the teams that may win. We're going to talk about the teams that have been training a lot. And above all, we're going to try and get some expert analysis from the audience and the guests. So thank you. See you soon. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to the show. So in the last segment we talked about the Longi race and we also talked about the Carrom board race, the Carrom board tournament itself. Both very exciting competition itself. Now we move on to the charity boat race, which is probably the flagship, would you say, Rashid Bhai?
Indeed.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anyway, I've got two new guests on the studio. So first guest is Mama Angurali from Jagannathpur. Would you like to just give a quick overview of yourself, a quick introduction perhaps?
আসসালামু আলাইকুম আসলে আমার নাম আঙ্গুর আলী আপনারা যারা টেলিভিশনে দেখরা সকলের পরিচয় কারণ আমি তো বিভিন্ন কমিউনিটি অর্গানাইজেশনের সাথে জড়িত জগন্নাথপুর ভিত্তিক সুনামগঞ্জ ভিত্তিক প্রতিটা অর্গানাইজেশন জড়িত এবং আমি বর্তমানে কিন্তু মিরিকলেন জামে মসজিদের ডাইরেক্টরও থ্যাংক ইউ সালাম
Rashid Bhai, would you like to give a quick intro?
Assalamu alaikum everybody, to all the viewers of TV1. My name is Rashid Ali. I am the race director, I think is the title I've been given. And I work with Gift Foundation, Sisters Forum and Newham Youth Link to organize the whole event with so many other people, everybody here and others beyond here as well.
Thank you, Rashid Bhai. So before we move on to the actual fixtures itself, I came up with a few questions in the previous segment and I said, hold those thoughts for a moment and I'll come back to you guys. Now, I've got two people who are very, very experienced in the charity boat race arena. Now, my first question was, why is there so much hype with charity boat race in the Bengali community? Rashid Bhai, do you have any say on that?
Okay, so my own personal experience is I wanted to do this because of a race I saw in Bangladesh when I was young. So I think the hype is there because it connects us to our roots. It allows us to raise funds for really good causes, and so it narrows or brings the sort of age gap between the two generations together. The young people do it because they want to raise funds. But the older ones, we do it because when we were young, we saw this in Bangladesh and there's a connection with our roots. And that's mainly why we do it for the young ones as well. So I think that's the connection. That's why there's a lot of hype.
So a couple of keywords, roots and connection to the tournament itself. Now, Angru Mama, I've got one question for you. Is boat racing embedded in the Bengali DNA and why?
I think shall I talk in Bengali?
Yes.
Any language
আমি
you want.
আসলে বাঙালি সিলেটি বাঙালিও কথা হয়তো মানুষ বুঝবা আসলে আমি 1985 আইছি কিন্তু আমরা যে সময় ছোট আসলাম কিন্তু বাংলাদেশে কিন্তু তখন সোশ্যাল যমুনার যুগ আসিল না তখন সিজনাল কিছু কিছু অ্যাক্টিভিটি আছে যেটা বর্ষাকালও আমরা দেখছি যেমন আপনার যেহেতু আমরা বাড়ি হইল জগন্নাথপুর এবং সুনামগঞ্জ এই এরিয়াত কিন্তু আমরা বাটি এলাকার মানুষ কিন্তু বর্ষা মৌসুমে মানে সামার টাইম যেটা ঈদে সব হয় এই টাইমে কিন্তু আমরার যে বিনোদন বা এন্টারটেইনমেন্টর যে মেইন যে আছিল ফোকাস আছিল বোট রেসিং যেখানে বিভিন্ন নৌকাহলরে বিভিন্ন সাজানো হইতো বুঝছেন নি এবং বিভিন্ন গানের মাধ্যমে কিন্তু ই মাঠে যাওয়া হইতো এবং এখানের মধ্যে হাজার হাজার মানুষ উপস্থিত থাকতো কিন্তু এটা কিন্তু আমরা ধীরে ধীরে যেহেতু সোশ্যাল ও যেন মিডিয়া যেটা ফেসবুক এবং বিভিন্ন মিডিয়া আওয়ার পর থেকে এগুলা কিন্তু আস্তে আস্তে নাই হওয়ার পথে আছে বিলীন হওয়ার পথে আছে কিন্তু সবচেয়ে আসলে আমি গ্রেটফুল পিপল লাইক রাশিদ এবং সাম আদার্স কারণ এই খেলাগুলারে কিন্তু উদ্দেশ্যের মধ্যে কিন্তু নতুন প্রজন্ম মানে বর্তমান জেনারেশন নিউ জেনারেশন যারা আছে তারার মধ্যে কিন্তু এগুলা ঢুকাই দেওয়া হয় এবং এটার মাধ্যমে আমরা উই আর গোয়িং ব্যাক টু আওয়ার রুটস যেটা কয়রা যে আমরা শিকড় যেটা আমরা ডিএনও যেটা হইতাছে ওটার মধ্যে আমরা নতুন জেনারেশন দিয়ে আমরা নিয়ে যাইতাম আর এটা করাত কি আর এখন যে নয়া জেনারেশনের আমি দেখছি নতুন যে ইয়াং হল তারা যে সময় আইয়া আনলেস দে স্টার্ট হেডিং বুঝছেন বইটা বাবা শুরু করার আগ পর্যন্ত তারা রিয়েলাইজ করতে পারেন না হাউ এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট দিস ইজ
Because it's in their DNA, do you think it comes to them naturally, paddling?
It does come naturally, but because this generation has not been doing this for long time, because we have started this competition, as I say, competition, and inviting the people, men, women, boy এবং বাই যারা আছেন তারা বিভিন্ন গ্রুপে তারা এখানে আনাওয়ার এবং এটার থেকে কিন্তু আমরা বিভিন্ন কমিউনিটি বিভিন্ন কজের জন্য কিন্তু পয়সা রেজ করার সম্ভব হয় অ্যানাদার থিং আমি যেটা কইতাম চাইলাম যে আমরা এই যেটা আমরা অতীতে আসিল এটারে আরবার আমার ভবিষ্যতে আমার মধ্যে কন্টিনিউ করতে পারবা এবং এই যে বোট রেসিং আমরা যেটা দেখি হয়তো ভিন্ন ফর্মে ইন্টারন্যাশনালি অলিম্পিক খেলার মধ্যে কিন্তু এটা চলে কিন্তু আমরা কিন্তু যেভাবে করছি এটারে যদি আমরা কন্টিনিউ করতে পারি তা আমার মনে হয় যে বাঙালি কমিউনিটি থেকে বাঙালি কমিউনিটি থেকে অদূর ভবিষ্যতে কিন্তু অলিম্পিক গেমও বা ওয়ার্ল্ড চ্যাম্পিয়ন গেমও আমরা কিছু কিছু ছেলেমেয়েরা এখানে অংশগ্রহণ করতে পারবা
ইনশাআল্লাহ।
Acha, thank you, Angry Mama. So this last question that I have probably more directed to you, Sotobai. So what can we do to ensure our children and their children continue this tradition? And also, should they continue this tradition?
Okay, that is a very, very difficult question. Yes, I think first of all they should take up the sport, water sport, to start with, because water sport in this country is not easy. It's not easy to get. So there are the different organizations all over the country where they actually facilitate for the youngsters. And then we're talking about DNA, we're talking about the roots. So every parent has that in them, and it's easier in that sense to instill, into them. And I mean, I have a son who's 19 years old. Last year was his first time. He's on holiday. He's coming back on Saturday to take part in the Nokobais. So it just shows that we, as an organization, and especially thanks to Rashid Bhai, that kind of mentality and thinking to broaden the minds of these youngsters, to come into this sport
So
is immense.
I'm going to say something in Bengali. Bangladesh is a funny dish, okay?
That's
Now,
exactly the point.
do all your children know how to swim?
Okay.
No.
So,
okay. Question.
I'm guilty of that as well.
Right. So Bangladesh হইলো ফানি দেশ।
Yeah.
Firstly, ফানি দেশ আসিল। ওখন আস্তে আস্তে ফানি কমে যায়। So I'll give an example. আমি 3 মাস আগে দেশে আসলাম, and I asked people, I want to go on a boat. সহলে উঠা হয় না, আমরা রিবাই দিতে হবে নৌকা নাই, because রাস্তা সহল বাই দিয়ে গেছে. So the use of the boat is less common now than it was in previous years. So that's in Bangladesh. Now when you come to this country, Nanu, for example, look, there are issues. ইদেশে আমরা হুরুতাইতে হাতরানি চিনি না. I'll tell you how I learned. My uncle, আমার চাচাই আমারে ইটামাইরা ফুকুরে ফালাইছিলা, বরেবলা হাতরি আয়. That's how I learned to swim. And many people learned like that. Now, my kids, to go to a swimming pool, they might go to a swimming pool, but they stay at the shallow end. ডিপি বাদি যাই না, এর ভিতরে আমরা, বিভিন্ন safety procedures নেওয়া লাগে. And as Sotobai said, water sports is a very expensive sport if you want to get into it. So all these issues, এটা সলটা combine হইয়া হইলো যে আমরা হাতরানি চিনি না, আর একটা জিনিস নানু, I'm ashamed to say this, আমার তিনগু ছেলে ছোট ছোট বাঙালি মারতে পারি না, বুঝানি, because me and my wife, আমরা ইংলিশ মাতি গরো, তারা স্কুলে গেলে ইংলিশ মাতে, তারা বাইয়ে ইংলিশ মাতে. Where are they going to get it from? So we have to, the good questions you guys like to me, we have to try and keep as much as we can. It's not easy, it's challenging, it's a different time frame. Anguru ভাই জালান হইছেন, আমরা 18 মাসে grow up হইছি, আমরা যেবেলা ইসলাম, it was different. So we have to understand that we have to do whatever we can to maintain that connection to our roots.
Thank you, Rashid Bhai.
Another thing is, আমি যেটা কইতাম চাই না আপনার যে প্রশ্নটা, কারণ ওই যে রাশিদে কইছেন, ইদানিং কিন্তু কিছুদিন বা আগের থেকে কিন্তু আমরা যে রাস্তাঘাট আগে এরকম আসি না, বিশেষ করে আমরা যে ছোট থাকতে কিন্তু আমরা বাথরুমও শাওয়ার করছি না, আমরা শাওয়ার করছি গিয়া গুছু পুকুরির মধ্যে। তো যে আমরা যে জেনারেশন বড় হইছি বা আমরা যে আগর জেনারেশন গুলা, তারা কম্পালসারি আসলা যে মা বাবাই গিয়ারি সাঁতার শিখাইতা, কারণ সাঁতার না শিখাইলে ইনকে অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হইতে পারে, কথা বলছেন। কিন্তু এখন যে সময় গিয়া রাস্তাঘাট হয়েছে, চতুর্দিকে হয়েছে, আমরা দেখছি বিগত কয়েক বছর আগ থেকে যে অনেক সময় গিয়ারি আগের মতো ফানি হইছে না, ফানি না হয় কিন্তু এটা সামান্য একটু স্লো হয়ে গেছে। এখন দেখা যায় গত কত সিজন থেকে আরবার বিরাট আকারে কিন্তু বন্যা হয়, আপনার দেখলাম যে ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জের ব্যাপারে বন্যা হয়। এখন গিয়া আরবার কিন্তু হলে আরবার নাও রেডি করা এবং বাচ্চা কাচ্চারা আরবার সাঁতার কাটার আবার ব্যবস্থা করা, এই করা। তা আমার মনে হয় যে এই যে জিনিসটা, এটা কিন্তু আমরা রুটটা কি আইছে, মানে ডিএনএতে কি হয়েছে, কারণ আমরা এটা আগে কম্পালসারি আছে সাঁতার কাটারা। এইখানেও যদি আমরা যে নয়া জেনারেশন, আপনি যে কথা কইছেন, যে দিস জেনারেশন শুড কন্টিনিউ, কারণ এই সাঁতার কাটার সাথে কিন্তু শরীরে এক্সারসাইজের একটা ব্যাপার আছে, ব্যায়ামের একটা ব্যাপার আছে। কারণ এটা তারা হইল গিয়ে সাঁতার কাটা হইল গিয়ে মানে এই দেশের মধ্যে সবচেয়ে উত্তম একটা এক্সারসাইজ
Exercise.
যে এক্সারসাইজ থেকে আপনি অনেক রোগ থেকে আপনি মুক্ত হইতে
মুক্ত
পারেন
হইতে পারি।
এটা আমার মনে হয় শুড কন্টিনিউ আর এটা কন্টিনিউ হইব করি আমি বিশ্বাস করি
Inshallah.
Okay, thank you. So let's get down to the actual tournament itself, the charity boat race. So we've got 3 heats, and every single team is going to have 3 races, correct?
Yes.
And the best time goes through to the semi-finals for the Opposilas, but the other categories,
They
the
go
best
straight to
times go straight to the finals. So do you want to give us a quick overview of that structure?
Right. Okay. So every team, as you said, will get three heats. We call them. So every team will have 3 races. Now, out of those 3 races, your best time will be taken, and then the top 6 in the Upazila category, because we have different categories. In the Upazila category, the top 6 teams with the best 6 times will go to the semi-final, and there will be 2 heats, obviously 3 in one semi-final, 3 in another semi-final, and then the final will consist of 3 teams in the final. Now, the other categories, we have the community leaders, and we have 15 teams in that category. They will all have 3 races each. Their best time, the top 3 teams with the best times will go straight to the final. Same with the Masjid Championship. We have 6 teams in the Masjid Championship, and the Sisters Race has 6 teams as well. So in the other categories, we will have the best 3 teams with the best 3 times go straight to the final. Unfortunately, amrar e time nai to give everybody a semi-final. We would love to do that, and inshallah that's something we're working towards for next year, but at this moment in time that's not something we have time for. So only the Upazila hopefully will have a semi-final.
So how many yards is the race? Is it same for all the categories?
All the categories are the same 200 meters, I believe.
Okay, so let's give some information around Heat 1, shall we? So hopefully it will come up on the screen any moment now. So for Heat 1, race number 1 actually, you're going to have Jagannathpur, Silet Shodor and Kampinigonj. Race number 2 is going to be Moldi Bazar, Fesigonj and Satoch. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing the Upazillas correctly. The third race, which is going to be the sisters race, is MSA Dragons, Forgotten Woman and GOF Dragon Sisters. And then back to Upazila, Dokin Shunam Goinj, Bishnat, Osmani Nogor in the same race. And then we have Dirai, Balagoinj and Gulafgoinj. That seems like a group of deaf. But we'll talk about it in a moment. And then we have a sisters category, which is Shedwood Dragon Sisters, Team Umara and LMC, Team Mariam Center. And then we move on to the mosque category, which is Chadwell Heath Mosque, Kunarai Jami Masjid and Masjid Al Firoz in one race. And then we have Masjid Al-Aqsa, Gift Dragons and Team Camden on another race. And then we move on to a different category, which is the community category. Okay, so we have Muhammadan Sporting Club, Zanzibar Dragons Community Group and Abdul Ahad Sports Academy in that single race. And then the next race we have TV1 Team A and HNKCC and Westminster BA on another race. And then we have EastEnders, Bangla Town, CNC and Jalalabad Union on another race. And then TV1 B Team, Silver Town and Queen's Park. And lastly, on that first heat is going to be Muslim Sports Network, Shedwood Dragons Youth and Sharfara Development Association. Right, so the first name on the list for the first race is Jagannathpur. So Angur Mama, since you're from Jagannathpur, would you care to say a little bit of information about Jagannathpur?
Jagannathpur, what information you want?
How are they doing? What do you think?
I saw them last year because I was one of the members as well. আমি যেহেতু মেম্বার আসলাম গত বছর আমি দেখছি যে আসলে প্র্যাকটিস মেক পারফেক্ট আর আমরা দেখছি বিগত কয়েক রেস দেখিয়া যে শাডোল ড্রাগন and দক্ষিণ সুনামগঞ্জ they are performing very well. The reason is because they are practicing together. And this is timing. Practicing timing. আমরা জানি যে যদি বইটা যদি তালে তালে মারেন তাহলে নৌকা ভালো
তাড়াতাড়ি যায়
আর যদি তালে বেতালে ভরি যায় কিন্তু নৌকা জায়গার মধ্যে স্টপ হয়ে যায় আমি যেটা মনে করছি এবারে দেখলাম যে আপনি ইউ আর টেকিং দ্য চার্জ অফ জগন্নাথপুর টিম as far as I know.
I don't want to mark my own homework.
No, obviously at least you are practicing, taking few session practices because we didn't do it last year. Last year I think we done only once. because once you go there, by that time he do all the induction and everything,
It's finished.
because practice করার আর সময় থাকে না।
Sure.
বুঝতে পারছেন? Because we are practicing this year.
So
and
who would you say the three most prominent teams in the Upazila category?
obviously, I would say Shantiganj. You would say, who is Shantiganj? Because Dokkin Sunamganj should have been Shantiganj now, because they changed the name officially. And there's another information. They are no longer called Dokkin Sunamganj. Because they won once, they kept the name. If they change it to Shantiganj, it will be better, because Bangladesh government has gazetted the change for this.
What about Gulafganj? Gulafganj have
Yeah,
been
Gulafganj
training.
came last year, I think second, isn't it?
Second, I said.
Second. But I think this year as well, the Dokkin Sunamganj will be favorite as well. But we'll be giving them a hard time as well, because we are practicing this season.
Nanu, my understanding is the Shohle Ablayah took serious in there. So a lot of teams are practicing. A lot of teams are looking for experienced paddlers,
Yes.
and they're starting to search. So it's going to get a bit more competitive. So my thing is, Dokkin Sunamganj, Gulafganj, and Diroy were in the finals, and so I think they will be the favorites as well. Okay.
So there were two other teams that are quite notable in the community race. You've got Shadow Dragons Youth, which we all know about, and we've also got Zanzibar as well. Though two of those teams are actually competing against each other. They're not exactly rivals or enemies, because they do help each other out, but they weren't exactly allowed to submit the full team, were they, Rashid Bhai? And why is that?
Right, okay. So after last year's event, actually Hassan Bhai from Shadow Dragons, I didn't have to say this, he himself said, we're going to ban Shadow Dragons because it's fair enough. You know, they leave everybody behind. So look, this is a charity boat race. The whole idea is for us to have fun. You know, it doesn't make any sense if one team is so far ahead. Just like in football, if you're winning 11-12-0, it doesn't make any sense. So what we've done is we've requested all the teams, certainly the experienced ones like Shadow Dragons and Zanzibar, to say, listen, this is a charity event. Let's make it for the new paddlers, for, you know, use this event to improve your team. So Shadow Dragons have said they're not going to enter a team, they've entered a youth team. And Zanzibar Dragons have said, okay, we're bringing our new paddlers in, and we're going to give them the experience to race in a competitive race, if you like.
Thank you, Rashid Bhai. I think we're going to have to take another break. So in the next segment, we'll be talking about heat number 2 and heat number 3, and we'll also be talking about some of the competition rules as well. So don't go away. We'll see you in a minute. Thank you.
Royal Regency, a stunning wedding and events venue. Glamorous, elegant, luxurious. 1,100 seating capacity. In-house catering facilities. Make your special day unique. Turn your dream into reality. Celebrate with Royal Regency. Call 020-8478 6020.
দীর্ঘ 20 বছর ধরে কমিউনিটিতে অত্যন্ত সুনামের সাথে হজ এবং ওমরা সার্ভিস দিয়ে যাচ্ছে ক্যানন স্ট্রিটের বিএমটি হজ অ্যান্ড ওমরা সার্ভিসেস। আমরা আপনাদের পছন্দ মতো মক্কা মদিনার যে কোনো হোটেলে টেইলর মেড ওমরা সার্ভিস দিয়ে থাকি। এছাড়া একই ভিজিটে আমরা তায়েফ ট্যুর করে সেকেন্ড ওমরা করার ব্যবস্থা করে থাকি।
ক্যানন স্ট্রিটের বিএমটি অফিস থেকে হজ ওমরার পাশাপাশি আপনারা বাংলাদেশ সহ ইউরোপ, আমেরিকা এবং মিডল ইস্টের যে কোনো দেশের এয়ার টিকিট সুলভ মূল্যে নিতে পারবেন।
আপনার ওমরা বুকিং দিতে আজই কল করুন 02077028810। জৈতুন পূর্ব লন্ডনের ওয়ার্টনি মার্কেটে শুভ উদ্বোধন হয়েছে ফ্রেশ ভেজিটেবল স্পেশালিস্ট শপ জৈতুন। এখানে বাংলাদেশি তাজা শাকসবজি সহ পাচ্ছেন সকল প্রকার দেশি বিদেশি ফলমূল। শুভ উদ্বোধন উপলক্ষে আমাদের রয়েছে শাকসবজি সহ বাংলাদেশি আম কাঁঠালের উপর বিশেষ অফার। প্রতিদিন সকাল 8টা থেকে রাত 10টা পর্যন্ত আমরা খোলা থাকছি আপনার জন্য। জৈতুন ফ্রেশ ভেজিটেবল প্রতিদিন, ওয়াটনি মার্কেট, শ্যাডওয়েল, লন্ডন। বোম্বে জুয়েলার্স, গহনার জগতে রুচিশীল মানুষের প্রথম পছন্দ। হোয়াইট চ্যাপেল রোডের বোম্বে জুয়েলার্স। এখানে 22 ক্যারেট গোল্ড এবং ডায়মন্ডের আধুনিক ডিজাইনের গহনা পাচ্ছেন সুলভ মূল্যে। বিয়ে, জন্মদিন কিংবা বিশেষ দিনে প্রিয়জনকে গহনা উপহার দিতে আজই চলে আসুন বোম্বে জুয়েলার্সে। আমাদের এখানে আপনার পছন্দের নামের প্যান্ডেন্ট এবং যে কোনো ডিজাইনের গহনা অর্ডার করতে পারেন। আমরা আপনার
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Guess what? I have a new guest, and that is Dr. Zaza Al Sheikh. Would you like to give a quick introduction? Who you're representing? Why you're here?
Yes, thank you. So I'm here because I'm the chair of Gift Foundation, which is the charity that's providing the platform for all these charities to be able to raise money for their organizations.
That's absolutely fantastic. Rashid Bhai, I'm going to have to ask you a question that I've been nagging me for quite a while now. Okay. Now, by tightening the eligibility rule for the tournament itself, do you think it's going to impact the team performances now that some paddlers have probably found out which upazilas they're from, because some of them were quite confused. Now, do you think that's going to be a huge disturbance to some of the teams?
I think it will disturb some and affect some maybe negatively, but I think it will affect others positively. Look, the whole idea with that particular category, and I guess one of the idea with this is for us to connect with our roots. So what better way to connect with your roots than to paddle for the particular area that you are from? So that's what we are trying to do, is we're trying to ensure that people actually, and it's one thing paddling for a team, it's another thing if you're paddling for where your parents or your grandparents are from. You know, there's a connection there for that. So that's why we're tightening the rules so that people paddle for the area and that there is a connection with their area and that they get to know people from their area as well. So that's why some of the rules are being tightened up.
Okay. So, Dr. Zaza, can I just call you Dr. Zaza for
Yes,
now?
of course.
So, what interest do you have in boat racing? Have you been involved in boat racing before? Is this a new exciting thing for you?
So I can tell you that in terms of boat racing abroad, it was probably the worst argument that me and my husband had. So paddling abroad, kayaking, you know, you have to work together. So I've always been very keen on it since, because you know, we were trapped in mangroves in Bahamas or something because we couldn't work together. So hopefully the teams here will be working together.
Fantastic. So are you going to be around on Sunday?
Of course.
Okay, so we've got another doctor
Absolutely.
around.
Yes, definitely.
Brilliant. Anyway, let's talk about heat number 2, and hopefully the heat number 2 is going to be up on the screen. So in the first race in heat number 2 is going to be Gulaf Goinj, Fancy Goinj and Dokin Sunam Goinj. Then we have MSA Dragons, Team Umrah and Chadwell Dragon Sisters. Okay, and then we have Satoh, Silet Shodor, Bishnat in a race. Then we have Company Goinj, Osmani Nogor and Dirai. Then we have Jagannathpur, Moli Bazar and Balagonj. And we have Chadwell Heath Mosque, Masjid Al Aqsa, Gift Dragons. And then we have Team Camden, Masjid Al Firoz and Kunarai Jame Masjid. Okay, now it doesn't end here because we've got more races. So we've also got in the second heat, we've got LMC, Team Mariam Center. We've also got the Forgotten Woman and GOF Dragon Sisters. They will be in the same race. And then on another race, you're going to have Muhammadan Sporting Club, Chadwell Dragons Youth and Jalalabad Union. And we've got 4 more races to go, so there's quite a few races throughout the day. We've got TV1, Team A, Bangla Town CNC and Abdul Ahad Sports Academy in one race. Then we have TV1, B Team, Zanzibar Dragons, Community Group and Westminster BA in a race. Then we have Muslim Sports Network, HNKCC and Queen's Park in a race. And then the final race for the Heat 2 is going to be EastEnders, Silvertown and Sharfara Development Association. What's your take on that?
Right, okay. So listen, we've got 39 teams. So 39 teams have to have 3 races. So there are lots of races.
I have to interrupt you here, just one.
Yes.
It's another burning question that I have, right? If you don't have enough time, do you think the teams in the Opposila will be racing 2 times the maximum? Is that a possibility, or are you going to ensure that?
Inshallah, that won't happen this year. And there's a couple of reasons. Firstly, last year we've learned from our experience, because last year we were going to have 3 races. By the time we all got started and everything
I take
else,
it, sister, you were there last year.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So
the changeover, the crossover will be much
smoother.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we've done is we've got, last year I think we had 6 boats. This year we've got 9 boats.
Yes.
Right, okay. So the changeover, so one will be racing, another one will be on its way to the race starting point, and another one will be loading. So the changeover will be much smoother. We hope, but we need all the teams to work together with us. We'll have a lot more volunteers, you know, we'll be a lot more organized. So inshallah, I think everybody will get the 3 races, as long as everybody cooperates and helps us to manage that. So everybody gets 3 races, so that's why there's a lot of races. Now, a couple of things, or one thing certainly I want to pick up is you will see that the sisters' races are sometimes in between the other races. Obviously, 3 boats will be racing at one time. Now, one of the things that we've done, and we've had to pay extra for this, and we've had to work really hard for this, is to make sure that the sisters' boats have female helms. So last year we didn't have that, but learning from last year and what the sisters actually, the feedback we got, we worked with the race providers and we said, look, we need female helms for the sisters races. So that's why the way this is arranged is to make sure that the sisters races have only females on the boat, no males whatsoever.
Terrific. So another question to Dr. Zaza.
Yeah.
Are you going to be paddling?
No, sadly not.
Okay,
I've missed the
question.
boat.
Can you swim? I asked everybody else, can you swim?
Definitely, I can swim.
Right,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay, so we talked about who we think that might be going into the semi-finals. Right? So we know it's going to be,
The
I'm talking about the
sisters.
men's, the opposite. We'll come on to
course.
sister, we keep the best to last, okay? So Dokken Shunam Goinj is perhaps going to be one of the teams going to the semi-finals. So is Gulaf Goinj, right?
Yes.
And Dirai as well,
Yes.
would you say? So and then there's the 3 other teams that are unknown. It could be any team, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know everybody talks about Dokken Shunam Goinj, okay, but I've been keeping an eye on Gulaf Goinj recently. And you know what?
Yeah.
They are training ever so hard, and they're not making a big hoo-ha about it as well. So they're just going about the business very quietly. Now, is this going to be one of the teams that we don't see coming?
To be honest, I don't think so, because they came second last year, Doctor, and they were very close. You know what it is with this? What it proves to me is when you've got enthusiasm, passion, motivation, you can achieve anything. I remember the first boat race I did at Fairlop, Gulaf Goinj were nowhere to be seen, but then people like Hassan Bhai, people like his older brother Aklu Bhai, these guys are fanatical about boat racing. Hassan Bhai has spent his entire life in dragon boat racing and building up Shadwell Dragons and so on and so forth. So they've actually, you know, sort of spent a lot of time, energy and perhaps money as well preparing the team, you know, for this. So I don't think it would be a surprise. I expect them to be there along with Dokenshon and Dirai, because Dirai is an area which is known in a country for having lots of water. So they you know, it's in the DNA, as we say, right? Okay. So I expect Dirai to be there, but the other Upazilas, look, Maulvi Bazar missed the final last year by half a second, less than half a second. You know, they're going to be coming back.
There's a surprise.
Yeah.
Did anyone see that coming?
No, this is what I'm saying. But
painful surprise.
Painful surprise, by less than half a second. But if we had semi-finals, they'd be in the semi-final. You know, so. And I know, like, a lot of the other teams are training now. This is not something that they did previously. So it will become more competitive. And that's just the Upazila sort of side, you know. The other categories, obviously, you know, I know the sisters one is very competitive as well.
Definitely.
My goodness me. Shadwell Dragons, who are hoping to set up a sisters team, had an open day, and they had so many sisters turning up, they couldn't cater for everybody. I mean, that's just fantastic.
Don't forget, we did have a Shadwell sisters team long time ago.
A long time ago.
And some of the sisters have actually stepped forward. Is word around
Mashallah.
the corner. But I haven't seen any of them in action yet, but hopefully we'll see how it goes on the day. So let's talk about some of the sisters teams anyway. To be honest with you, I mean, other than Shadwell, I'm probably not as close as I would have liked to with some of the sisters teams. So does any other sisters team strike in any way?
I think you'll expect great things from Gift Dragons in particular.
They won it last year.
They won it last year.
You've been training in Regatta Centre, have you?
Yes, some of them have, yes. And, you know, the cup is even bigger this year, mashallah.
It's the middle
so they'll want that. And, you know, it's always about that underdog, you know, the idea that the sisters, they're not going to do much, they're just there for fun. But I think you're going to be surprised.
Yeah, that's another question, actually. Are the sisters doing it for fun, or are they serious?
No,
very serious.
Believe me, they're very serious.
Very serious and motivated, of course, by raising
money. Serious.
Yes, no, the sisters race is probably more competitive, Nanu, because I know MSA, Muslim Sports Association, I think they're called, sisters, they take part in other boat races as well, and they train. You know, obviously we've heard about Gift of Knowledge. Forgotten Women, you know, are another group that they train and so on. But there's so many nice stories. I mean, Tim Umaro, obviously, referencing, you know, Umara, who passed away, a niece who passed away last year, you know, they did last year and they were new last year, but this year, you know, they're motivated to come back and try again. So yeah, there's a lot of good teams. It's very competitive.
How many training sessions do you think it takes to actually compete?
I would say half a dozen to be certain that you're going to stand a chance.
What about for the men's Upazilas?
I would say, look, the more you do, the better you get. I know Gulabganj over the last couple of years, you know, this is something that they've really looked at. I think the other teams are doing 2, 3, you know. I know Osmaninagar, where I'm from, you know, we're doing 2 sessions before. But the thing is, that's this year. Next year it will be more, and the year after it will be more. You know?
Those who tasted defeat will want to win, and those who won will want to win again. So it will just gather momentum, inshallah.
Okay. Do you think Shadwell Dragons offering 2 of the boats for training and with helmsmen has helped the community?
Indeed.
Do you see other organizations buying their own boats and doing similar to what Shadwell Dragons are doing?
I don't know if other organizations will do that, because I think it takes a lot of effort, time and money. Yes, upkeep as well. And whether they have access to Shadwell Basin, somewhere like Shadwell Basin. But I think definitely what Shadwell Dragons have done this year for us as a charity boat race, and especially people like Hassan Bhai, you know, and I know Aklu Bhai has been pushing from behind as well, encouraging the team, Gulabganj. But what they've done is absolutely fantastic. They've you know, sort of provided training sessions or facilities for for all the teams. They're setting up a youth team, you know, they're setting up a sisters team. So I think what they're doing is, and we're working with them to ensure that this event works around promoting water sports to our community, all of our community. So, you know, I mean, Doctor, you know, particularly in our community, the woman's role was somewhat limited, you know, sort of previously, but now we recognize the benefits.
Yes. And it's really about giving women the permission to be doing water sports, rowing. You know, it might perhaps seem a little unusual, a bit taboo maybe, but last year, mashallah, you know, having a sisters team win, and then now again this year that we've got so many participants. So, you know, inshallah, particularly having a female helm will, you know, reassure people that inshallah there's nothing wrong with this, that it's all sisters competing against each other.
Do you think
and
it's only going to
winning.
grow, the popularity amongst the women?
Definitely, absolutely, definitely. Because it's something that not only connects you with your identity, and it's multi-generational, so there's no sort of age cap as long as you can row.
And not to mention the health benefits as well.
Yes, I was coming to that. You know, blood pressure, weight, diabetes, all of the illnesses that really benefit from exercise. When there's a competitive element to it, people are even more motivated than just
So it's not just
keeping
physical,
active and keeping healthy.
it's not just the physical, it's mental health, well-being as well at the same time.
Yes,
As
and
you're-
feeling connected to your team members as well as to your origins, your ethnic origins, you know. You may not have been to Sylhet for many years, you know, more than a decade or never, but this is your chance to connect, you know, to see the costumes, to hear, you know, people speaking, all in different dialects perhaps, but nevertheless with a common dialect between them. So it will be really exciting. And, you know, even though I'm not with Sylheti origins, I'm so excited for it.
Absolutely. So Rashid Bhai, just a little bit more on the rules, because I touched base on the previous segment that the rules are really tight now, and all of the paddlers, all of the teams must abide to the rules. If you're in the Upazila, there's heavy restrictions in place. You have to make sure that you are from the Upazila itself. You were either born on the Upazila or you've moved there a long time ago. And you can prove that as well at the same time. But on the other categories, so let's just say if you're participating for a specific Upazila, okay, can the paddler from that same team paddle for a different category?
Yes. So what we are saying is once you are part of a team in a particular category, then you have to stick to that team. So if you're paddling for an Upazila, you are restricted by your birthright, if you or your parents' birthright, if you like. In the other teams, you're not restricted by your birthright or anything like that. You can choose where you or which team you paddle for, but you know, you've got to paddle for that team. You can't sort of swap teams midway through the competition kind of thing. The other thing we've done is we've said to the other teams they should not have more than 6 experienced paddlers. Okay, and the idea with that is to make sure that, you know, one team doesn't get all the good paddlers and, you know, sort of leave everybody behind.
Equality.
Yeah, so, you know, the idea is to make it competitive, you know, and what we're trying to do is engage people who don't get access to water sports necessarily, you know, and introduce them to the sports with the hope that they would take it up and sort of they would do it just beyond this coming Sunday.
Thank you, Rashid Bhai. So just to the recap on the day, what's going to happen. So teams to arrive at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. But I would advise leaving early because there's going to be a lot of people driving. A lot of people will be traveling from across the country. So parking may, I mean, although there's ample spaces, there might be an issue. So it's better to leave early. 11 o'clock is the actual safety briefing, and if you're not wearing one of those tags, you're not going to be allowed
on the boat.
On the boat. So you need to be on the safety briefing, and once you're on the safety briefing, they will provide you with one of those tags. At 11:15, we've got the carrom board, and at 11:30, the actual races start. Now, is this going to be clockwork, as in first free boat goes in, they come back out again, and are you going to have the second boats ready? So you're going to have more than 3 boats, is that correct?
We're going to have 9 boats, 3 racing at one time. So 3 will race, 3 will be on the way to the race, and 3 will be loading.
Okay, so it's just like a factory production.
Yes.
line.
relay,
Okay, that's
yes,
absolutely
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
because
relay.
Yes.
I've never seen this before. It's usually 6 boats.
Yeah,
you
no,
have-
no, it's 9 boats, which gives us the turnaround is much quicker.
Okay, and then at 1:30 there's going to be a quick break for prayers.
Yes.
2 o'clock, longy race.
Mhm.
We can talk about this later.
Uh-huh.
And then at 4:30 we've got the boat race finals.
Uh-huh.
And then at 5:15, hopefully we're going to wrap it up back with the presentation. And this is when all of the awards are going to be presented. So before I go into the actual awards themselves, I'm just going to quickly recap on heat number 3 for all of the teams. So hopefully heat number 3 fixtures are going to be coming up on the screen any moment. So we've got on the first race on heat number 3, we've got Jagannathpur, Gulafganj and Satoh. Then we have Moli Bazar, Silet Shodor and Osmani Nagar. And we have Fancy Goins, Dirai and Bishnat. Yet again, I'm going to apologize if I pronounce any of the teams incorrectly. Then we move on to the sisters race. So MSA Dragons, Forgotten Woman and Shadwell Dragons sisters. I am from Shadwell, so I'm going to be very impartial on what I say. But anyway, there's a close link between me and Shadwell Dragons.
Indeed.
And then we have Company Goins, Bala Goins and Dokkin Shunam Goins on another race. And then we have Chadwell Heath Mosque and Masjid Al Feroz and Gift Dragons. And then we have LMC Team Mariam Center, Team Umara and GOF Dragon Sisters. Okay. Then we have Team Camden, Masjid Al-Aqsa and Kunarai Jami Masjid. And then we have TV1 Team A, Silvertown and Jalalabad Union on the race. Then we have TV1 B Team, Shadwell Dragons Youth and Abdullah Had Sports Academy on another race. Then we have Muslim Sports Network, Bangla Town CNC and Westminster BA on another race. Then we come down to EastEnders, Zanzibar Dragons Community Group and Queen's Park on the race. And then the final race on heat number 3, we will have Mohammedan Sporting Club, HNKCC and Sharfara Development Association. Right, so those are the 3 of the heats. So any thoughts on that?
No, I guess by that time everybody will be sort of looking hard and trying to improve the best time to make sure they get to the finals.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what, Arshiba? I almost forgot to bring this up, right? This isn't just about boat race, longi, tournament. It's about family getting together, right? It's about the food stalls. It's a bit like the festival sort of environment, right? Not exactly a festival, but...
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I've played football my whole life, and I've spent my whole life going to football tournaments and going on my own, not taking the family or anybody. So this was part of my passion as well, and this was a part of the reason why I got involved. I wanted an event where I could take my kids, but as well as, you know, I could take my wife. And my wife has fear of water, but she actually went on the boat last year, and she really enjoyed it. That she's actually doing it again this year. So
That's what competition does. Even overcomes your fear.
Indeed. So you know, it is a family event. I think we've all tried our best, and with Gift of Knowledge,
Absolutely,
Sisters
that's
Forum, and New Youth Link, you know, we try to make it a family event.
I'm afraid that's all time that we have for today. Charity boat race, Sunday, 6th of August. London Regatta Centre near City Airport. Get yourself there, get your friends there, get your family there, get your children there, invite your boss, why not? Your colleagues, your friends, tell everybody to go there. It's going to be a fantastic day. There's going to be lots of activities. If you don't want to participate in any of the activities, just watch the boat race, the longer race.
Go on the bouncy castle.
It's going to be a very enjoyable day. I mean, we expect, 2,000-3,000 people on the day?
3,000 people, yeah.
So anyway, thank you, Doctor, for your
welcome.
input. Thank you, Rashid Bhai.
Thank you.
And thank you all for staying with us. And hopefully we'll see you on Sunday, 6th of August. Thank you.